Good morning. Uh, we are going to do finance growth and decay. For more explanations, private, here are my contact details. Here are my numbers. They are both available on WhatsApp and on direct calls. Here's my email. So for us to be able to answer, we need to understand the formulae. The formulae are listed here. These are the list of formulae that are found on the formula book, and these ones are not in the formula sheet, but you're expected to be using them. Then let's go to our question. Here is our question. So we are going to go to question 6.1. So question 6.1, here is question 6.1. You are given that 12,000 was invested in a fund that paid interest at this percentage compounded quarterly after 24 months. The value of the investment you are given there, then you are required to determine the value of M. So to get the value of that M, it means this is a lump sum which was invested. So it means you have to use the formula. Here is the formula. So let's mark the formula. Here is the formula when there is a lump sum that has been invested. So adopting that formula, it means we are now going to get what the bit misbehaving. So yeah, it simply means our A here is equal to P, then 1 plus I to the power N. Identify the variables. The A is equal to the accumulated fund, which becomes 13,459. Then the P is the initial investment, which is 12,000 Rand. Then the I, you are told the rate is M%. So M% means M divided by 100. It's compounded quarterly. So it's divided by 4, which means this is equal to M divided by 400. Then we are also having N. And if we check, our time is given in months, which is 24, but you have to make sure that it's also equal. It's supposed to be relate this time, put this time, how many quarters are there. So we are going to divide that by 3. So this is equal to 8. Having that, substitute the values. So it will mean that 13,000 we are having 13,459, which we are saying is equal to P, which is 12,000, multiplied by 1 plus our rate. It's now M over 400. which is being raised to the power 8. To solve that, it therefore means you need to divide both sides by 12,000. Divide here by 12,000. So it will mean this is going to divide by that. So you are left with 18,459 over 12,000 must be equal to 1 plus m over 400 to the power 8. We now want to solve this, so it means we have to get the 8th root both sides. You have to get the 8th root both sides. Simplifying that, it means you are now going to be left with the 8th root of 18,459 divided by 12,000. It's the 8th root must be equal to 1 plus m over 400. So it means you have to transpose the 400, the 1 to that side. So eventually the answer is now going to be so here it will therefore mean that the 8th root of 13,459 divided by 12,000 minus 1 must be equal to m over 400. Then to solve for 400, it means you have to multiply both sides by 400 here. As we have brackets, we multiply that whole thing by 400. This one and this one are going to cancel out. So eventually we are left with m being equal to, simplify, it means we need to go to the calculator. We use the calculator. So we go to the calculator. So it means it's going to be 400 multiplied by the 8th root is the 8th root of 18,459 divided by 12,000. It's minus 1. Then we close the bracket. That must be equal to 5.77. That value which is on the calculator, when you put it to 2 decimal places, it's going to be 5.78. 8%, that is to 2 decimal places. So this becomes our answer, because the question was saying calculate the value of m. So the m will be equal to that. Then let's go to the next question. Let's remove all this. So we are now going to question 6.2. So if you check, you have to take note whenever you are answering these questions. Before you answer, make sure that you read and understand these questions so that you don't make unnecessary mistakes. Always make sure that you read and understand the questions before attempting them so that you don't make unnecessary mistakes. So the second question, 6.2, there it is. So we are going to have our 6.2. So on 31 January 2022, Tino deposited 1,000 in an account that paid interest at 7.5% compounded annual per annum compounded monthly. Then you are told that he continues depositing 1,000 at the last day of every month. He will make the last deposit on 31 December 2022. Will Tino have sufficient months in the account on 1 January 2023 to buy a computer that cost 13,000? Justify your answer by means of an appropriate calculation. So if we are to check here, it means Tino, you will be putting 1,000 periodically, meaning to say it's an annuity here. So it means you are going to use the formula for future value of an annuity because it's depositing now, but you want to check, will the person be having 13,000? So you have to copy the formula for annuity. You have to copy the formula for annuity. So it means this is the formula that you have to check to use. Here is the formula, the future value of an annuity. You have to copy that formula. Once you have it, you have to identify the variables. So here we are having the formula which reads F equal to X. Then we put bracket. It's going to be 1 plus I to the power n minus 1 there or over I. So what is a f? We do not know the future value because the question is asking you, will the person have sufficient funds? Meaning to say we want to check the future value, the amount that you will be having. So we are going to put that our f, we do not know it, is the one which is missing. We don't know this one. Then our X, you are told that the person will deposit 1,000 and will continue depositing 1,000 at the end of each month. Then I, you are told that the rate is 7.5. So if we convert that one, it's going to be 0 by dividing it by 100. It becomes 0.07. But you are told that it's compounded monthly, so it means it needs to be divided by 12. Then your n, you have to check how many months are there. So because we are talking of monthly compounding, so how many payments are there? It's from 31 January 2022 to when? To 31 December 2022. So you have to check the number of months here. So the number of months or the number of payments, they are going to be 12. That is January, end of January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and December, which makes it 12 months, 12 payments. So using this, we can now calculate our F. So it therefore means that our F is equal to X, which we identified as 1,000. Then in bracket, we are going to have 1 plus our I is 0.075 divided by 12. So yes, divided by 12 raised to the power 12 minus 1 all over the rate, which is 0.075 all over 12. Then we simplify that. Simplify that, what are we going to get? So we go to our calculator. So it means we are going to have 1,000, then bracket bracket 1 plus 0.075 divided by 12 there. Then it's raised to the power 12 because there are 12 payments minus 1, or divided by 0.075 over 12 there. Then the answer that we are going to have is 12,421.22. Always remember that our money must be given to 2 decimal places. So it means that the amount that he is going to raise here, it means the amount that he is going to raise is going to be 12,421.22. Then we check. The question was saying, will Tino have sufficient funds to buy a computer that costs 13,000? The cost of the computer is 13,000, but here is what has been raised and the cost of the computer. So conclusively, it means that Tino will not have sufficient funds. Tino will not have sufficient funds. Why are we saying it's not having sufficient funds? Because the amount that would have raised is 12,421. So take note there. So this question, as in will he have, this is part he will not have. Then justify your answer by means of an appropriate calculation. This is the calculation. So Tino will not have sufficient funds because he only managed to raise that amount. So thank you. Let's go to the next question, which is 6.3. Let's remove this part. We go to 6.3. On 6.3, you are told that always make sure that you read a question and understand it before you attempt answering it. A question understood is a question partly answered. So here we are going to have 6.3.1. 6.3.1. They are saying Tabo plans to buy a car that costs 250,000. He will pay a deposit of 15% and take out a loan for the balance. The interest on the loan is 13% per annum. Did monthly calculate the value of the loan. So as you can see, you are told he's going to pay deposit of 15%. So you can calculate the 15%. So what is number 1? 15% multiplied by 250,000 is going to be the deposit. This amount is the deposit. So the value of the loan must be the actual cost of the car, which is 250,000, subtract the loan deposit, which is subtract 15% of the cost. This is the value of the loan. Or alternatively, you just say 100% minus 15%, which is 85%. So it means value of the loan can be written as 85%. Value of the loan can be written as 85%. 85% of what? 85% of the cost of the car. So it means the value of the loan. Sorry. Okay, it's fine. Yeah. Or we say this can be written as 85% of the price of the loan. sorry, of the price of the car. So what is the value there? It simply means we just have to go to our calculator. So we said this is the loan value. So it's going to be 250 So it's gonna be 250,000 minus 15%. You can write it as 15% of what? 15% of 250,000. If you check, we are getting 212,500. Or we said you can just go straight and say 85% of what? Of 250,000. Still is 212,500. So here our answer is 212,500. That's the loan value, which we said 212,500. There. So the value of the loan, here it is. Then we go to the next question, 6.3.2. They said the first payment will be made 6 months after the loan has been granted. The loan will be repaid after a period of 6 years after it has been granted. Calculate the monthly installment. So here, because we want to calculate a monthly installment of a loan that is already given, so it means we use the formula for present value. So the formula that we are going to use here is the formula for present value. This is the formula that we have to be using. So to get that, it means we are going to have our formula there. So if we are to put that, it's going to be P. We have to identify the correct formula. P equal to X. Then we have 1 minus bracket 1 plus I to the power a negative N all over I. All over I. What is left now? You need to be knowing the variables. So you need the calculations of those variables. So our variables, number 1, our variable P. P, it's normally the loan amount, but in this case, the loan was delayed to be paid. So we have to adjust this loan for the 5 months where it was not paid, because it started being paid in the 6th month, meaning to say 5 months were not paid. So our P there must be adjusted. What must be adjusted? The loan value, which is 212,500, but that amount needs to be adjusted for 5 months. So it means it's gonna be 1 plus, you adjust using the formula for compound interest, the I there. So our I, so we need our X there. Our X, we do not know it. We need our I there. Our I is now going to be equal to the rate. We are told The rate is 13% here. The loan interest is 13%. We are not going to use the 15%. 15% was the deposit. So we use this 13%. Convert it to a decimal is 13 over 100, which gives 0.13. But we are told it's compounded monthly. So we divide that by 12. Then, so it means here to adjust that, we need 0.13 divided by 12 there. Then it's raised to the power 5. We are adjusting for the 5 months where the loan was not paid. We adjust for the 5 months where the loan was not paid. Then our N, you are told that the loan will be repaid over a period of 6 years after it has been granted. So we count 6 years from when it was granted. So how many payments? Because N is representing the number of payments. So it's 6 years multiplied by 12. Multiplied by 12 monthly payments. But we have to know that we subtract the 5 months, which we delayed by. So our N in the formula there. So we subtracted the 5 months that we put there. So our N, therefore, it means it's now going to be equal to our N here. It becomes, this times this 72 minus 5, it becomes 67. So with that in mind, we can now substitute. So where there is P, we are now going to put 212, 500, adjusted 1 plus 0.13 over 12 to the power 5 must be equal to what? X. So that's our X being multiplied by what? We have 1 minus, in bracket, 1 plus I is becomes 0.13 over 12 to the power what? A negative 67 there, all over I. Our I is 0.13 over 12. And kindly take note, we now want to solve. So to solve that, it simply means, here is what we are having to solve that. We want to solve for X. It means we have to multiply by this part. It simply means we have to multiply both sides by this part. There. Multiply, so to divide both sides by that part. In other words, we are just dividing both sides by that. So that we'll be left with X. So it simply means you come here, divide by 1 minus 1 plus 0.13 over 12 to the power a negative 67 or over 0.13 over 12. You do exactly the same. Take note, this is your denominator, the whole of it. Then you do the same here. It's gonna be 1 minus 1 plus 0.13 or over 12 to the power a negative 67 or over, take note, this one is over 0.13 divided by 12. So if you check, this one is on this other side also. So from what we are having, it means this whole part will divide by this whole part. We are just left with x. So solving for our x, we are now just going to punch that on the calculator. So it simply means that our x gonna be equal to, we are going to punch this part on the calculator. So we go to our calculator. So what are we going to have on our calculator? So we are going to have our fraction. Then on our numerator, we are going to have 200, 212, 500 multiplied by 1 plus 0.13 over 12 there, which is going to be raised to the power 5. Then we divide that by, so we are going to put a bracket, then we put a fraction. So we are going to have 1. Okay, we can put the brackets as they are put there. So we are going to have 1 minus that bracket, which is 1 plus 0.13 divided by 12. That is going to be raised to the power a negative 67. Then is it a power that delete? That is going to be raised to the power a negative 67. Then we close that, we go to the denominator, which is having 0.13 divided by 12. So we ended up getting 4724.96 when you leave your answer to 2 decimal places. So it means the answer is 4724. So it's money. 4724.96. So answer the question, calculate the monthly installment. This amount is representing the monthly installment. Therefore, that amount 4724.96 is the monthly installment. Where you had to take note here when calculating this question was that your P here, it was supposed to be adjusted for 5 months since the payment started after 6 months. Then the N, when you be calculating here, you have to take note, since they said 6 years, which is 72 months, there are 5 months which you have not paid. So it means you are supposed to adjust for those 5 months, subtract from 72. That's how we got 67. Then everything will be fine. Then always take note of these do's and don'ts in mathematics. Whenever you are practicing mathematics, make sure you read the problems thoroughly, because a problem understood is a problem half solved. If you do not read problems, you might end up answering things that you are not being asked. Carefully read each maths problem to fully understand what is being asked before starting your solution. It's very important so that you don't make mistakes of ending up answering your own questions. Number 2, You are supposed to avoid rushing calculations. It's very important that you take your time. You have to take your time, avoid rushing. Do not rush through calculations or skip essential steps, as this often leads to mistakes. Or if you skip essential steps, you might end up losing marks which you are supposed to get. You might end up having correct answer, but because you skip essential steps, you might end up losing some marks. And it's very important to review and check answers. It's very important that you review and check answers so that you can easily catch errors and ensure your solutions are complete and accurate. Thank you very much. Once again, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment.